Hey everybody, this is Linda with Ink Stamp and Scrap. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to sharing another fun workshop with you. Today we are going to talk about three basic card layouts that you can use for sending any occasion cards. We're just going to do some general occasions today because we're going to be featuring the Rainbow of Happiness bundle that is coming in the upcoming mini catalog. The cool thing, of course, I don't have it in front of me. There we go. The cool thing about this bundle is that it also has an accompanying designer series paper in the celebration brochure. So the day that this goes live, January 4th, also starts 2 months of celebration where you can get promotional items for free based on the amount that you order. I can't show you the insides of these, but I promise that is something that will happen in early January as soon as I can. But I can tell you that starting tomorrow, I can order a lot more products out of there, and that is my intention. So one of these videos following in December will definitely be a showcase of more new products from the mini catalog. You can watch last week's live, which I will link below if you would like to see the products that I have already purchased, which include not only this Rainbow of Happiness bundle, but also several more products. Okay. Hi, Kathy. Hey, Nancy. Yes, my holiday was wonderful. We just went to neighbor's house for Thanksgiving, which was really fun. And we are looking forward to our kids all coming down and across this week, and we will have them here towards the end of the week. So I will give you an update on how videos are going to work for the remainder of the month. But right now, I want to dive into a few housekeeping things. The first thing is that tomorrow, the last chance promotion starts in the holiday catalog that we are currently in. So the July to December mini catalog with all the holiday options, all the things that we've been stamping over the last few months together. Those are all going on last chance, and many of the things of the items in there will be discounted starting tomorrow, but it's all while supplies last. So make sure that you check my blog early in the morning. I will post the whole list and all the discounts, and you can start shopping to your heart's content, the last chance list. The host code will flip tomorrow morning, so make sure that you grab the new host code, and I really appreciate you ordering with me as your demonstrator. All right, the next thing is just an FYI, my gift card holder class, which I am so happy that you all are so enjoying it, is still available for sale. You can learn how to make 6 awesome gift card holders, nothing that I have shown on the channel yet. Things that I think you will really appreciate. Some are wallet style, some are card style, and there's even ones that will hold multiple gift cards, up to 6 gift cards in one of them. So lots of different things for you to try out, and the gift card holder class is available on my online classes page, and I will also, after the video, link directly to the sales page for the gift card holder class so you can see all the details and make your purchase. Last thing is that for over almost 2 years, I guess I should say, I've been talking about Technique a Week, and it is time to finally retire that program. I am no longer adding to it every week, and because of that, with yesterday being Cyber Monday, I put the entire library on sale. So you can get 75% off the entire library, but only through tomorrow night. So if you are an avid crafter and just want to find new ways to use the crafty objects that you have in your stash, I highly recommend you snatch this before it disappears at this amazing price. I will link this below, and you can also find it on my website. All of the things that I'm mentioning are also blog posts right on the homepage for you to just click on and get to where you need to be. Starting after Wednesday, this product will still be available, but it will be moved up in price, but the entire library will be available with the click and payment of your mouse. So that is what's going on with Technique a Week. All right, let's talk about this beautiful Rainbow of Happiness stamp set. I played with it quite a bit. I have some samples to show you besides our basic layouts when we get to the end. But I'm just really loving this. I wanted to show you the basics of it. The font is fantastic, and it's got very all occasion kind of pick me up, make somebody feel better about whatever's going on in their life sort of sentiments. It does have several clouds in the dies, these guys right here. And so you get your raindrops, you have some hearts, you have kind of this dashed line and these dots, which you could also use for kind of weather indicators or just background fillers. And then each of the rainbow bands, these ones are all separate stamps. And so I wanted to kind of show you how those go together in just a really simple way. These are not going to become a card. I just wanted to share with you. So if you just stamp the rainbow, the arches themselves. The way I did this one, I started with the smaller one and I actually switched to starting with the bigger one on these two, and I'll show you those in a minute. And I liked it much better. I found it for me much easier to start with the bigger rainbow and scale down. It was easier to line it up. You guys decide what works for you, but I will tell you that works for me. And before I show you this, the other trick is that when you're mounting these acrylic stamps or the stamps on your acrylic block, the easiest way to do it is to put the stamp, the part that's going to go on the paper, put it face down on a flat surface, and then take your acrylic block and pick it up. Because what that allows it to do is just go to the natural arch of the stamp. And that's what you want when you're trying to build the rainbow, because you don't want to accidentally wing out either of the feet or narrow the angle of the arch at the top, because then everything won't line up perfectly. So that goes for all of the arches of the rainbow. Now, what I want you to notice is these two specialty ones this one replaces the second smallest, and this one replaces the second largest if you want to. Obviously, you could build one with both of these in it, but I just chose to kind of showcase them here, showing you still how the rainbows went. I just felt like this kind of lined up better. Up to you. I think you could do it from smallest to largest or largest to smallest. But I just wanted to share with you, for my eye, it was easier to do large to small than small to large. All right, so that gives you some tips and pointers when you're using this. The other thing I wanted to point out to you guys is that a couple of the dies don't cut all the way through. So this one does not cut all the way through. It doesn't cut the bottom. Doesn't mean you can't just run it through your trimmer and get a solid, a rainbow image. But when you first, let me show you here, when you first run it through your die cut machine, this is what happens. It just cuts the arches out for you, or the arches of the rainbow out for you. What am I trying to say? It's not that it doesn't cut all the way. That didn't sound right. It gives you the negative space. And you'll see it in one of my card samples. In fact, I'm going to grab that right now and just show you. Save your positive space. So this is what I did with the positive space. So I cut off the designer series paper because it has matching rainbows. So I was able to get all the different color arches with one sheet of designer series paper. And then all I did is I took the extra white arches that came from here, put the designer series paper on top just to puff it out a little bit. This is that new honeycomb embossing folder. And then I just used some other products that we've had for quite some time. This is one of the dual punches, and then these are the in color gems that we have this year. So there is that card. I will get to some more, but let me show you what else. This one cuts all the way. And again, you have some negative space here that becomes the top of the bookmark or the tag, whatever you want to call it. You can save these and make some rainbows. These make adorable little rainbows. Oh, that's what I was going to say. This one, let me show you. This one cuts like this. And that's not a good view. There we go. Let me scoot up a little bit. Okay, so this one cuts like this, and this is the one that you can just cut on your trimmer right there, about the same width as the whitest band there, and it would look like it was a solid die. And then you could use it for backgrounds or whatever you want to do with your little rainbows. So that's another thing to consider with all the dies in this one. Let me go back out so I have enough room to make some cards. There we go. All right. And then this one, similar to this guy, does not have a cutting edge on it. It's just made to kind of rainbow the edge of your cardstock, but it doesn't mean that you can't trim it right here and have this be just an extra piece on your card. I'm going to show you a sample with that. Actually, I'll do that right now. So this card right here, I used the the rainbow tag with one of the smaller phrases in there. And then I tagged 3 pieces of designer series paper. I added the rainbow arch, I cut it separately. And then I just used the textured paint designer series folder to create the background for the card. And it's just a plain note card. All right. And then I have one more sample to show you. This also showcases the other folder that I got in my pre-sale that I shared with you guys last week. So this is that gingham folder. And then this is the largest die here and how it cuts. So it cuts out 4 arches. So you would have to cut it 4 times to get 4 different patterns or colors. Also with the designer series paper, you could always flip it over. The way I assembled this card is that this is a 3/4 inch piece of crumb cake, and then I just punched it on both ends using the same punch that I did on this one right here. And then everything about it, as far as color goes, is Granny Apple Green. This is just some of our crumb cake baker's twine tied in a bow and a little liquid glue to stick it on there. And then I just used dimensionals under these 3 just to give it a little layer. You can see the shadow right there. Okie doke. All right. Hey, Julie, thanks for joining us. I'm glad you found us. All right. So let me see, what's the next thing I want to do? Yeah, I am going to bring in the 3 layouts that we're going to go through, and we're going to use those on some cards. I'm going to set that aside, and here we go. All right, sorry, I'm trying not to make them bang on the desk because they're the acrylic blocks, but I don't know how much left. There we go. All right, so what I want to show you is, since this bundle has its a 6x6 matching designer series paper, I wanted to show you some basic ways to cut your 6x6. I know that some demonstrators will show you, or some paper crafters will show you, designer or scrapbooking paper sheets where you can cut all sorts of different sizes. And I love the patterns, but sometimes you end up with these little pieces that you just don't know what to do with. So for me, I prefer a pattern that just uses up everything. So this is 1.5 inch strips. So it's 1.5 by 6. But this way you can mount it on a full card and trim it off or use a punch to cut it out and make it the way that you would like it to be. So that is one way that we're going to cut our 6x6 paper. We get 4 strips. You could always cut them in half if you wanted to have more, but 1.5 is a good width to show off your designer series paper and still add a lot of stamping to a project. Another way to cut this is the 2-inch cut. And what I do is I cut 2 inches at the bottom all the way across, and I can use that for even a wider either bottom or side border for my card. But then I cut the rest of it at 2 inches as well. And these you could use to twist and stack, similar to the ones that I did here, although these are a little more narrow, and really showcase your designer series paper. You could flip it over and get more pattern and still just use that one piece of 6x6 designer series paper. And then last but not least is to cut it in half, which gives you a 3-inch, and then again do your 1.5s across. So you'd have 4 1.5s, but cut it at 3 inches. So we're going to do all 3 of these things and then construct a card from each. All right, so the first pattern we're going to use is the 1.5 by 3. And I'm going to use this piece of designer series paper because with that 1.5 by 3, I like stacking them back and forth. So let's cut this first so you can see how that goes. And then we'll add a little bit to this card. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut this at 3 to get my 2 sections. I'm not going to cut this one for our purposes, but in order to cut this down, the easiest way possible is to just cut it in squares, and then I just need 1.5. And I am going to cut both of these squares down because I am going to use all 3 of these. So I have 1.5-inch pieces by 3-inch pieces. And if you have watched my channel for a while, you know one of my favorite basic card layouts, and that's what we're talking about today, is just basic cards, is to take a card front, which is not that, and a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of scratch paper as your base layer. And why do I like to do that? Because if I start stamping right on this card, or I start adding layers directly to the card base, it's easy and it's practical, but if you mess up, then you've lost this entire sheet. Whereas if you build all your decorations on this quarter sheet, it's just a little more practical. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to build on this. And actually, we're going to build something very similar to the one that I showed you. I'm just going to show you doing it with the wider, and I'm not going to tag them, pieces of designer series paper. So you can see that if you use the 2-inch pieces and you just stagger them, you can cover your whole front and really showcase your designer series paper. Makes for a super easy card to send to somebody. You could do the stack layered like that, or you could stack and layer them like that and really highlight that center one. I'm going to go back and do it the other way. I'm going to do it just like this. And then we're going to add this cool rainbow right here. So let's get going on that. First I need to stamp a greeting here, so we have something to say. I'm going to grab my Memento Tuxedo Black ink pad, and I'm going to use the larger of the two little phrases, the larger little phrase, which talks about laughter, I do believe. A little something, nope, a little something to brighten your day. So just kind of a hello sort of greeting for somebody. I just want to grab, next drawer. There we go. I just need my stamping mat. There we go. Put this down. All right. There we go. I'm just going at a little bit of an angle because if I tried to make, oh, that didn't work so well. Okay, well, good thing I made 2 of those. I think I did. I had to when I started. We might make another one. It seems to have grown legs. All right, well, guess what? It's still going to be similar, but we're just going to go with the flow and make a greeting. All right, so what we're going to do is I am going to stamp this on white. We're just going to do a traditional matte of a layer. See if I can not move it this time. That looks much better. And now what I can do is bring in, close this. All right, I'm going to bring in my, looks like, no, is it 1.5? Yeah, 1.5 looks pretty good. And then which way here? Nope. Okay. There we go. And then I have a piece of Magenta Madness, which is what I wanted to use as my greeting. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this right here. When you're just making a one-off card and you're not mass producing, this is a really easy way to do your greeting. You're just going to stamp it and then mount it on its mat. And just cut it down. Super simple. and you're good to go. All right, so now we have this, so we can layer the card the way I originally intended with the tag. We're going to need some dimensionals for that because it just isn't as exciting. All right, I said I was going to, let's see, I'm just going to take a glance at the comments here while I'm doing this. Lucky you get to see your kids. Ours are too far away. Oh, bummer, Kathy. Yeah, well, one's in San Diego and the other, our son and his girlfriend are in Hoboken, but everybody's making their way down. And then the strips on the cards and drawing. Oh, that's cute. I like the idea. So Sue said in the comments she would make these smaller strips and make them like candles on a birthday cake. I like that idea. All right. Um, I lost my, oh, I said earlier in the video I was going to fill you in on the rest of December. So things have changed a little bit since we were together last Tuesday, as far as our schedule down here. So first of all, the kids are still coming. Obviously, that's the priority this week. But then my sister and my niece are coming right on the heels of their trip. So I am going to take a much needed vacation. You will still see content from me, but it's not going to be live. So make sure that you stay subscribed to my YouTube channel and you will be notified if you have rung the notification bell as to when a new video posts. And while I'm talking about it, if you would give this video a like, especially if you are on Team Replay, I would really appreciate it because then more friends can join in our fun. But I'm going to take a little bit of time away from doing the live presentations for you so that I can enjoy some time with family. And I have lots of really cool things to share with you in the coming weeks. And I will do that via my blog and Facebook, Instagram, as well as my email list. And I will tell you that my email list is always the first to find out whenever there is anything new, discounted, or exciting. So if you are not on that list yet, check out the links below this video, or if you're on my blog post, just look to the right along the side and make sure you join my email list so that you always know when I have any special promotions or any new projects to share with you. All right, so there is our first one. So this is what you can do with some of those 1.5 by 3 inch strips. They cover a card very, very nicely. I agree, Nancy. Family is important. All right, I'm going to set this over here. We'll bring that back in when we're done. Now, let's talk about what we can do with this one, but let's cut our designer series paper a little bit different. This time, I'm going to show you how we do that cut. I'm going to do, I have to, sorry. Got a little, oh, there it is. Got a little distracted. All right, so this time what we're going to do is we're going to use this. We used this pattern. We're going to use this pattern. So I have a 2-inch down here and then 2 inches this way. We're going to use this one. I'm going to show you how we can do that. And then we'll also use the other 3. So first I'm going to cut this. Do I want to use this? Well, I'll use the same pattern, but then I'll cut another one and you'll get the idea. Kind of crazy to listen to me think, huh? All right. All right, so we're going to cut 2 inches off the bottom here. This particular piece of designer series paper definitely has a correct way to go. And then we could do this in 2 inches and they'd be 2 by 4. I'm going to do that in a minute. I'm just not sure if that's the pattern that I want to use, especially because, well, I have this left. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this one is, once again, I'm going to get my quarter sheet of cardstock and we're going to add this to the bottom. So I'm just going to show you what a nice layer this makes. Hang on, because I don't want it to stick to that. Oh, goodness. Okay. Oh, just going to use this then. Not sure where my silicone mat is. It should be in that drawer, but it's not. So here we go. I'm gonna, you know what I have? There we go. It might stick a little bit to that, but at least it'll do what it's supposed to do without making a mess on my piercing mat. Okay, so here is my 2-inch piece that makes a very nice border. So I'm putting it all the way down on the bottom. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and trim it off. And then we're going to add one of those rainbows that has the negative space. And I'll show you how easy it is to decorate it. The card that I showed you with all the different colors, that's a pretty complicated way to do it. That's a eclipse technique, which you would be able to find out how to do if you purchase Technique a Week. Haha, got that slid in there. Anyway, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 3-inch piece that we didn't use on the last one, and I am going to put it right behind here, because how cute is that? So all I need to do, I don't even need my trimmer to do this. I can just use this as scrap. I'm going to cut it down a little bit more here. And then I should be able to get this right behind here. Oh, that looks so fun. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of glue around the edge here. And I want this to stick, so I'm going to put just a tiny bit of glue on my little arches, but not everywhere. I just need a little bit. And then I'm going to come back on this and make sure that it doesn't stick out the sides, but that it gives that nice look. There we go. All right, and now I can add this layer to here, and then we can put a greeting down there. All right, I'm going to do the greeting, and we're going to use this really cool, I love this one. You make me happy. How you can't get much simpler than that. We're going to use Magenta Madness on this one, because I just feel like those are the two colors that just scream from this, the Bumblebee and the Magenta Madness. I also, oh, that's okay. So you make me happy. Sorry, I think my head was in the camera. All right, there we go. You make me happy. And then we're going to use dimensionals to pop this up. This is why I love that our designer paper has two sides to it, because it coordinates and you can mix and match on one project with the same piece of paper. So what you'll find on the blog post after I update it with today's PDF, in that PDF, I will have all 3 sketches scanned in, so you can just save that PDF to your computer and have those as layout ideas whenever you need one. All right, there we go. There's that. And then this time we are going to use an 8.5 by 5.5 card base. That's scored at 4 1/4. Oh, I'm going to close this up before I make a mess. And then we're going to add this layer, oops, without the dimensional backing. Oh, I'm so glad you guys have fun in the chat. How fun. We do a lot of camping. Wow, Kathy, 8 grandchildren. That's a lot. And to not see them for 2 years, I'm really sorry. But I'm sure it will be so much fun when that finally happens. And thank goodness we live in an age where technology lets you stay in touch. It would be much harder for my kids to be as far away as they are if we didn't have that. All right, so there we go. There's the second card. So that uses a 3-inch border that was left over. And then what I can do with this, I'm not gonna cut this one. We're gonna cut another one just to mix it up a bit because I think we used that one enough, but I'll show you that pattern. So let's get this one. This one's fun. This is the Granny Apples green one that I used on a previous card. So let's bring that one in and let's cut this all the way down the way I was showing you. So you can see how you might use those 3 wider pieces on a card. The 1.5, I kind of like to, it's kind of, I should say, it's very similar to the way we used the 1.5 pieces, but you're just going to want to use a landscape card instead of a portrait card. So I'm just going to show you the basics, but I'm not going to finish it off. We'll finish off a card from the third layout. And that is where I'll show you how to stamp the whole rainbow too. So for this one, you'd want to use a portrait style card. We used this piece on this card right here and just trimmed it off. What I would do with these is it is 4 inches. So you could do a couple things. It could be a border and you could have a stamped image here, or you could layer them together staggered if you wanted to use all of them at once. But this way, it really covers quite a bit. And actually, if you want, oh, there's a couple things you could do. You could stagger them, and I would line them up perfectly there on the top and bottom. Or you could stage them across. And I think if I was doing that, I would put this one in the middle, and then I'd have a little bit less of each of these and then trim it around. So there's lots of options for the ways that you could use these 3 as well. All right. So that's one more thing to consider. But what we're going to do, we're not going to use this guy. We are going to stamp our rainbow on here, and I'm going to cut using the third way to use your designer series paper. So we talked about the 2-inch way. This is the one we haven't done yet, and we already did the 1.5 by 3s. So now we're going to do the 1.5 by 6. And I'm going to go this way. I'm going to double check. Let's find a really oh, I know which one I want to use. Where is, aha, there it is. I love this one. How cool is that? All right, so we're going to use this one. I need my trimmer again. And for this one, like I said, it's 1.5 inches all the way across. So I'm going to cut my first one, and you get the idea of how the other ones would go. And that's just a nice width for like the sidebar of a card. It gives you enough to see the designer series paper, but not too much. And it gives you, it allows you to fill in the rest of the space pretty easily. All right, so what am I going to, I just don't want to get a lot of glue everywhere since I can't seem to put my hands on my silicone mat. So I'm going to trim this for starters. And then I'm going to glue it on. Usually I would glue it first, but like I said, just because I can't find my silicone mat, it seems to have grown legs. For those of you that are big fans of the designer series paper, I am going to do my paper share again, which means that when Stampin' Up! Produces a new catalog, they have um, a large number of new, this is going to squirt. I'm going to grab a new one. They have a large number of new patterned paper that they add to the catalog. So in January, you will have the opportunity to purchase a sampling of all of the new papers. I am going to put out a list next week for you to join if you want to be the first to know when I put my sign up out for my paper share, because Stampin' Up! Rules are that I can't have you pay for it more than a week in advance of me ordering the paper. And I'm a rule follower, so that's the way I do it. But I do want to give you the opportunity to let me know that you want it, so then I don't bug you over and over again about an upcoming sale when you've already said you're all in. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to add, it's going to cut off a little bit. Okay. Nope, that's not going to work. Oh, we'll just make the rainbow smaller. That's the other fun thing about this. All right, so let's get the rest of our rainbow here, and we're just going to start with the next smaller one, which is this guy. And I'm going to set him down, and I'm going to pick him up, and then we're going to start with Magenta Madness. I'm going to put it right here. Oh, I don't have my stamp mat down. Hopefully that comes out okay. Get that mat. Oh, it did. Okay, good. Get that mat underneath for the next one. Oh, watching from Oregon. Hey there, Jan, right? Yes. All right. Let's do Bumblebee next. And I think we're going to do, let's do the stripe. So let me clean this off so I can put it away. And then we're going to do the little stripey guy, because that'll kind of coordinate with the suns in the designer series paper. So that's the other thing about this stamp set. You don't have to have all 4 pieces of the rainbow to get the effect. Go right there. Oop, gosh, sorry. Nice view of my head. All right. But otherwise it wouldn't have lined up. So we saved the card. All right. And then last but not least is that little arch. And I'm going to use Pool Party, because the other ink pad I have out is, thanks, Julie, is Flirty Flamingo, and I just feel like that's going to be too much pink. All right, let's see if I can, if I bring it a little closer, I can do it without putting my head in the camera, I think. Maybe not, but we're going to go for it. Okay. Oh, I think I have a bubble in there. Yep, I do. Okay, so a couple things. I have a little smudge there. We'll let the greeting take care of that. But the that white mark right there, let me show you how I like to fix that. So I'm going to take one of my blender pens, and I'm just looking for, there we go. I can use this. So I'm just grabbing any white paper just to make sure, because see, it's very pink, but it's still running clear. So I know I'm okay. I'm going to pick up just a little bit of ink from my ink pad, and then I can just make these 2 little marks go away, and you'll never know they were there. So that's a little easier than stamping over twice. If you're just, like I said, if you're just making 1 card. If I was making a lot of cards, I would be doing this in a stamp positioner like the Stamparatus, so that it would work out correctly. but a blender pen and an ink pad. And you might ask why I didn't use the marker. The marker is similar ink, but not identical, and it's aging at a different pace than my ink pad. And especially in a sunny environment like Florida, it's always better to go back to the source. So if I was already using markers to ink up my stamp, then I would just color in with a marker. But since I'm using the ink pad, I want to take a blender pen into it to get the same color ink. All right, that's a big explanation. All right, let's see what we can do to cover this guy up. And actually, I think I'm going to use my already cut magenta. And do I want to do You Make Me Happy? Not sure. Oh, I can use, yes, okay. That punch that I mentioned that I used on the other stamps. It's this dual tag punch. It's got, or dual banner punch. It makes like a tailed banner and then a traditional banner with the triangle the other way. And you can do it at 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch intervals. So we're going to do the You Make Me Happy again, just because it's long and skinny and it should fit on here just fine. Let's just double check there. Oh yeah, no problem at all. Okay, so I am going to cut this as the background. So it's going to be 1 inch because that's the biggest that that punch will take. So we're just going to cut this little piece at 1 inch because I know the greeting fits on 3/4 of an inch, but it doesn't fit on 1/2. All right, so I have my inch and I can slide that in there and I can punch this side for starters. Okay, and then I'm going to grab some Whisper White that I had used for the greeting. This is the one we used before. And I'm just going to trim this down. That was 1 inch, so this is going to be 3/4 of an inch. And we'll stamp on this. I'm going to do the same thing that I just did. First, I'm going to get this. So I have one end that's already flag punched, and you can see how nice these guys line up because you're using the same flag, all the angles are the same. So then what we're going to do is grab our Magenta Madness one more time. Not sure why I didn't put that back. And that's what I stamped this in, so I can just ink it up again. And then I can see, I want it to go kind of across, just like that. Yeah, I do. I want it to go across. So I'm going to go here. Just like that. Nice. Okay, so then I'm going to need just a little help with a ruler. Because when I punch this, the little scrap is about 1/4 of an inch. That's what it takes off of the end. So I want to see how long I want this to be. Oh, the correct end would help. So I want it to end about here. So that's 3.5. So I'm actually going to cut this at 3 3/4, and that should leave me enough to take the edge off of there. So let's see how that works. So I want this whole thing. Oh, let's be smart about this and put this away. Look at that. We are coming up right on time. So 3 3/4. There's my end. And now I can take my punch, just slide it in here. There's my 1/4 inch off, and it's nice and centered. And then I'm going to make this one 4 inches. So I've got enough mat. Then I'll slide this in, and it should work out. And there we go. Everybody's happy. All right. So we're going to glue the stamped greeting onto the mat, and then I'll use dimensionals to pop it up a little bit. Needs to go over just a little bit more. That's why it's nice to use liquid glue, so you have a chance to really line things up. And then I just need my dimensionals. There they are. So I just kind of stagger them when it's like an inch-ish width, just so they're not all at the top and they're not all at the bottom and they go across. And that's going to cover up my little smudge mark, which is awesome. There we go. All right, and that is definitely a portrait card. So I'm going to take an 11 by 4¼ piece of basic white cardstock that I scored at 5½. I'm going to add my card base right to that. And there are your 3 projects for today, cutting up my designer series paper, the 6x6 size, 3 different ways. And you could get 4 times as many if you considered using a 12 by 12 in the same way. There's nothing saying you can't, but I just wanted to show you fun and easy ways to use your 6x6 designer series paper. All right, so let's scoot this out of the way. Let's bring in all of our fun creations with the Rainbow Happiness new bundle that's coming out in the mini catalog that starts in January. Let's clear off my workspace here. There we go. All right, so these are the cards that we made together using various cuts of the designer series paper. Move those over for you a little bit. There we go. And then these are the ones that I made beforehand, also using the designer series paper, just to show you different ways, not necessarily basic cuts, but different ways to use the bundle before it's available. All right, let me see if we have any. Oh, Nancy, I'm glad you like the punch. It's still available. It's in the annual catalog. And I don't see any other questions. I hope the weather in Oregon is really nice. It's beautiful here in Florida today. All right. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I'm Linda, and this is Ink Stamp and Scrap. And you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Make sure you are on my email list. There is a link below because you'll be the first to find out whenever there's anything new at Ink Stamp and Scrap. I really appreciate you coming to my channel. If you wouldn't mind subscribing and clicking that notification bell so you know when I post a new video, and also just giving this video a quick thumbs up so that YouTube will share it with more people. Thanks again. Have a wonderful week. I will see you soon, and go make something crafty. Enjoy. Bye-bye.